manage your own emotions, how you express them, how you react when somebody expresses something. Managing that is emotional quotient. Yeah, we hug him every day. We tell him that we love him so much, and yeah, we do appreciate whatever he does well. And of course, we do tell him what to do better.
No, nothing really, but we thought that it might be good to us. Maybe we learn something from it. It's a parenting session, so nobody's perfect. We are also not perfect. We might definitely end up learning something from this workshop. To some extent, from the foundation, from the environment she sees, from her parents, and somewhat I think it has to do with the nature of the child also, like the way she's been brought up. It's a mixture of everything, I think.
And definitely we want to learn the more ways how to talk about the emotions, because the IQ part takes by the school, take care by the school. So emotion part, what we want to learn more, how we can make emotionally strong our child.
Experience these things with them. We play with them. We teach them, like she is elder to him. We teach her how to care him, how to give response, how to be responding and be responsible to him in these things, and how to share. Sharing is that kind of thing which is not very common with kids nowadays. So we teach her how to share things with small children, especially with cousins, with the ones who come at home.
What is emotional intelligence? Have you heard the term before? Emotional intelligence? Has anybody heard the term before? Okay, very simply, it means to be intelligent in understanding and managing yours and others' emotions. Sounds like a nice thing? It sounds like a great thing, doesn't it? Okay, you know, the term emotional intelligence was actually popularized by this man. Has anybody read this book before? It's a very interesting book called Emotional Intelligence, and it's written by a gentleman called Daniel Goleman. This book was published in 1996, and it is still a bestseller, okay? But he talks a little more about emotional intelligence, and this is a little more of what it's about. Okay, I'll request you to just really follow the words over here. Okay, all these things you were looking for over here, balanced, happy, affectionate, complete, tell me if that would help this, okay?
Okay, emotional intelligence is a way of recognizing, that's identifying, understanding, and choosing how we think, feel, and act. It shapes our interactions with others and our understanding of ourselves. It defines how and what we learn. It allows us to set priorities, and it determines the majority of our daily actions. Research suggests it is responsible for as much as 80% of the success in our life. You think that's pretty important then? Okay. All right. Now, have you ever heard this? I'm really smart, but I'm not happy. Okay? That happens a lot. You see that there are a lot of people who have a good IQ, but maybe they don't have a very good understanding of emotional intelligence. They don't know how to use it wisely. So this is something, a picture that we get to see quite often. Okay, now researchers have found that even more than IQ, your emotional awareness and abilities to handle feelings will determine your success and happiness in all walks of life, including family relationships. So if you have, and I think all of us have, frictions or small problems in our family relationships, this is really a key in overcoming and finding solutions. Okay, now we talk a lot about IQ, right? It's quite important. Our children's IQ, our IQ. Who can tell me what IQ stands for? One of the children? IQ, what does it stand for?
Oh, one of the parents is fine.
Okay, one of the parents. Intelligence quotient, that's right. And a lot of importance is given to intelligence quotient, right? There are tests on measuring it, right? And if you have a high IQ, that's a very good thing, right? Okay, but the IQ is only the tip of the iceberg. Underneath the surface, there is the rest of the iceberg, the bulk of it, the majority of it, which is called EQ, the emotional quotient.
Okay, who would agree with this statement over here? Who agrees that emotions are powerful things? Who's had first-hand experience with powerful emotions, both positive and negative? In yourself and in others. Everybody? Okay. You know, there's a reason for that. See, the brain is a very, very complicated thing. Does everybody agree with that? The brain could actually be divided into two parts, okay? One part of our brain is our thinking brain, or what we call the rational center, and the other part is the emotional brain, called the emotional center. So the technical term for the rational brain is the neocortex, and the technical term for the emotional brain is the amygdala. But let me ask you something. When a signal comes into our bodies through our eyes, through our ears, through our feelings, guess which one responds quicker? The neocortex or the amygdala? Think again. Many times, in most cases, it is the amygdala, right? But emotional intelligence basically consists of finding a balance between the rational brain and the emotional brain. Have you noticed some people are too rational? They're not emotional enough. Some people are too emotional and they drive the rational people crazy. Why do you have to be so emotional all the time, right? Well, emotional intelligence consists in balancing the two out, and that's what gives us a happy life. So can we talk about that? Okay. So here are what we call the 4 domains of EI, or emotional intelligence. It begins with self-awareness. Once you are self-aware, you go on to self-management. Once you've done that, you are socially aware, and then you go on to relationship management. Okay? So these are the 4 domains of EI. We'll get into this in just a minute. Okay. So self-awareness consists of 3 things. Emotional self-awareness, or reading one's emotions and recognizing their impact. How many people here feel you can actually do that? You actually understand what's going on with your emotions. How many people here feel they could use a little help with that? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. Accurate self-assessment, knowing one's strengths and limits. And third is self-confidence, a sound sense of one's self-worth and capabilities. If you have 3 things, then that means you are a self-aware person and you've got a good foundation for emotional intelligence. Okay, moving right along, we're going to zip through this. Social awareness, and the next one is social... Okay, empathy, sensing others' emotions, understanding their perspective, and taking active interest in their concerns. Awareness, reading the trends in your family. And service, recognizing and meeting others' needs. Okay, next one. And finally, because you're aware of others, you can manage relationships. You know what happens? Many times we try and manage relationships without actually understanding how others are feeling, and the result is what? Disaster. A mess, as you said, ma'am. Well, relationship management is very simple. It means being an encourager, resolving disagreements, cultivating and maintaining relationships, and teamwork and collaboration. But you know what we're going to do? We are going to give you... Aha, that's a nice one. This is lovely. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. ठीक बात है ना? As somebody else said, I don't really care how much you know till I know how much you care. What do I care how much you know? Do you care about me or not? That's what I care about, right? Now, families are consisted of what? People, individuals. So, is there anything called an emotionally intelligent family? Not really. There's only emotionally intelligent people in a family. And if enough of you do that, you'll have an emotionally intelligent family. Okay? All right. Number 1, grateful. This is the first trait of an emotionally intelligent family. Are you grateful for each other? Do you thank each other often? Do you tell your family members how much they mean to you? Home is where we are treated the best and where we complain the most. He who forgets the language of gratitude will never be on speaking terms with happiness. You don't feel so happy? I'll tell you why. You've forgotten the language of gratitude. And you know, I found this beautiful thing on Facebook. It really touched me. It says, never ignore a person who loves you, cares for you, and misses you. Because one day you might wake up from your sleep and realize that you lost the moon while counting the stars. Right? Okay, so what we want to do right now is we want all the mummies and daddies and the kids sitting over here to look at each other and tell them why you're grateful for them. Okay, understanding. Seek first to understand rather than to be understood. That's a very important trait of an emotionally intelligent family. Easier said than done, I know that. But what's the first step to understanding someone? Can anybody take a guess? How do you really understand someone? Who said that? Absolutely correct. Let's clap for the gentleman over here. You listen to them. In fact, when I ask you to listen to me and you start by giving advice, you have not done what I have asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you are trampling on my feelings. Next one. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me, strange as it may seem. Listen. All I ask is that you listen, not talk or do, just hear me. I can do for myself. I'm not helpless. Maybe discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. When you do something for me that I can and need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear and inadequacy. But when you accept as simple fact that I do feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I can quit trying to convince you and get about the business of understanding what's behind this irrational feeling. And when that's clear, I find my answers.
Now there's a tendency, when you live together, what happens? There's a certain familiarity that builds up. Yes, okay, now familiarity has two sides to it, okay? You're familiar with a person, that means you have a certain comfort level with them. You're comfortable with them. You can say anything. You can just be yourself. You can relax. You don't have to have makeup on all the time, you know, etc., right? That's the good part of familiarity. You know what the wrong side of familiarity is? When you forget all the niceties, yes? You take them for granted because they're always around. So then you feel like, okay, I don't have to say please. I don't have to say thank you. I don't have to, you know, I don't have to get into like a lot of courtesy, manners, etc. But my recommendation to you is, if you want to keep your marriage special, your relationship with your children special, always be courteous to each other. Always treat each other with that same sort of love and respect that you did when you first were courting, or when you first saw your children for the first time. You know, that sense of wonder and that sense of joy. Don't lose that ever. Okay, so the first way to do that is just to employ good manners and courtesy.
Have you ever noticed how we've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth? There must be a purpose, no? Otherwise, we'd have been given 2 mouths and 1 ear, right? So I think we are, by design, supposed to listen more and talk less. I'm going to zip through this 5 more minutes, all right? Oh, forgiving. Now, is that yours?
Okay, forgiveness is very important. It says to never let the sun go down on your anger. That means never go to bed angry. Always finish up whatever fight, whatever argument was happening. Before you all go to bed, please say sorry, whatever, make up, and then go to sleep. Finish, forgive, forget.
I see some big smiles over here. Has anybody here had an overnight jhagda?
Or one that carries on for days.
Oh my God. Not worth it.
Not good for your health. Not good for anyone's health.
Okay, next one.
Forgive and forget. And did you know that the word resentment comes from a Greek word which means to feel all over again? So you know when you feel resentful with somebody and you don't want to forgive them for what they've done because they've hurt you? When you feel that resentment means you go through that pain of that hurt all over again. You relive that moment. And it's suffering many times over.
But it's also kind of stupid, no? You've been hurt once. Why do you want to watch the video again? Stop watching the video.
And you know, sometimes we feel good saying, I will never forgive you, or I'll never forgive that person. Who's the prisoner there? The other person? No, the other person will continue with their lives. Maybe they'll feel bad that you're not forgiving them, but you will actually become a prisoner when you don't forgive. Okay, like it's like that doctor or like that man that called the doctor and said, doctor, you have to come and help my wife. She's historical. So the doctor said, you mean she's hysterical? He says, no, she's historical. She's bringing up things from many years ago. So let's not be historical. Let's forgive each other and move on.
Yes, but wanted to see more of it. Wanted to see more towards, how to create the family harmony, you can say. But yes, it was helpful. Basically, the emotional quotient, of course, that is what we discussed. So, feedbacks regarding that, which we are about to imply on our families now when we go back home. So, probably that.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's doing a lot of good. And because I've been following like a religion, I think actions speak louder than words. I obviously wait and we look forward to this happening, and especially Family Vision. They're fabulous people. They're doing a wonderful job. Awesome.